Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you tonight? I'm No Time to Die, aka Formis if you like, your host, and I'm not with Oliver this time because he's playing this match we are going to be streaming, but I'm with Papa Bean once again. Bean, how are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I'm excited to see this match, man, and and to see Ulbrecht, just sit his ass back in HQ in a tank and do absolutely nothing for a good 45 minutes. So it'll be a good time to watch. I'm excited to see both these sides go up against each other. So um, yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's what we were talking like an hour ago when we started setting this. So we're going to be watching the Division 3 APL champion and the Division 2 APL champion. And we were speaking about the differences, maybe, well, HCA is already here, it's a 49's setup, but Pathfinders come from a 36 versus 36. So, and it's not doing that bad Pathfinders on the HCA based on the enemies, the opponents they already got. It's if you give me a second here, which I also forgot to do this, and I'll get the numbers here of Pathfinders. Maybe we can also check the Baddies of the North. So I'm showing you my screenshot in case Ulford or Papavin, sorry, I'm used to. And well, Pathfinders won two of the three matches they played in the stage in the group stage. Baddies of the North the same. It's just a reminder. Baddies of the North being Group C and Pathfinders Group D at the ACA. So, well, just a small recap here. Pathfinders lost their first match against the coalition between Phoenix and Hated. I believe those two clans are Germans hated. I know Phoenix. I believe it's also a 3-2 they lost. They won against Red Army 5-0, and then they won against BFTB, another German clan, 3-2. On the other hand, Baddies of the North, they lost the first one against BLKRT 3-2, won their second one against Syndicate 3-2 again, and won against Chimera 3-2 again. And the playoffs we have already. Pathfinders lost 5-0 against the Helios. I mean, it's kind of expected, blazing a Division 1 team against a Division 3. And then we had Baddies of the North playing once against the VLKRT. I know one of the clans of the VLKRT is Czech. I don't know where's the other one. And they lost, as the group stage. So now, Baddies of the North, as far as I know, they won this match. They should be playing tomorrow because the team they facing decided not to play. And well, Pathfinders is going to be playing against BFTB once again as the group stage. So I believe they're going to win. But yeah, it's a small change. We were talking, not a small, it's a significant change between 36s and 49s. Don't you agree there, Bin?
Yeah, so and a big thing that we like to always talk about in strategy groups, right? Is what you bring to the table. 36s, you're not going to be bringing, your full potential. I do believe that 49v49s really do test the merit and the grit of each side. And it's extensively important to just keep that in mind when kind of talking about the difference between these two kind of matches. 36s, you're still testing out your guys and everything, but in my personal opinion, you really see a full potential of a match come into existence in a 49v49, and that's what I'm the most excited to see here tonight.
I agree. The main difference is the how you play the map. 49s, it's as you say, it's mostly the 1v1s. How you manage to win those micro battles inside the whole battle, because you occupy completely the map completely from bottom to top, or I don't know, left to right. Otherwise, 36 is mostly centered, in the point that it's being fought, and leaves gap for infiltrations, a little bit more play between the teams. So I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, let's be honest. I believe that Baddies of the North at the end of the day is going to be winning, mostly because it's Division 2 champion and Division 3 champion, and as you mentioned, Baddies of the North, it's a very competitive team nowadays. So I do expect them to be kinda messing around, with Pathfinders and also Division 1 teams here at the next APL season.
Correct. And I think, and I'm not gonna dog on Pathfinders. I think they are a very well put together team. I think that they have tons and tons and tons and tons of potential, and they really are an up and coming team. I would love to see them next season of APL. Give it a shot at Division 2. I do want to see, and I think I share the sentiment of a lot of people within this community of wanting to see more top tier groups. And the only way that we're really gonna get there is if we start by having these groups, compete more and encouraging them. That's really the only way that I see it really, really taking off, if that makes sense. So, I think that this is a great matchup. I think, we're going to see, just looking at my side, Baddies of the North definitely have brought some friends with them. But Pathfinders have also brought some friends with them. And so this will be a great match for the community, as a whole. So I look forward to this one.
I mean, nothing else to add. The only way you make the game more competitive, it's like, I don't know, sometimes lowering, the guard and help another teams, so they grow up and maybe one day they'll be competing against your team, and that's the fun. I mean, for example, take ESPT. ESPT, what do they have to face? Helios once again. GBA, it's gone. Greyhounds, and what else? Not much more they can face, and have a proper battle. I mean, we seen ESPT getting above them quite easily, and I mean, except Greyhounds, they lost against Greyhounds on the HCA group stage. So, I mean, sometimes you have to lower your guard and help the other team, so you don't end like ESPT, for example.
And I think it's important to also know that ESPT, they are going to continue to be at the top of their game, and they want that challenge. I used to play a game called Mountain Blade Warband Napoleonic Wars, and I was part of some of the top tier groups. It gets lonely when you're at the top of the mountain. You want to have a challenge. You want to see other teams that can pose, a challenge to you and your guys. We faced that several times in that game. We would, because it would be like 40v40s and 50v50s, and we would always talk. How do you, prepare for that next opponent? When you get to that top of the mountain, yeah, it can get a little lonely. So I'm very excited to see how each of these teams are going to progress over the next year. I would love to see both teams give, some of these top tier groups a run for their money.
Sure, I mean, once you get on the top, even more in a game like Hell Let Loose, for example, I mean, it's a strategy game at the end of the day. If you start competing and you get on the top, it reaches a point when you are not thinking anymore, in the matter of getting new ideas, new strategies, because the things that you already thought are working. And you don't have that stimulation, that kind of gives you the I don't know, the need of playing the game, you know?
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and I think that's kind of the drive that you want to have.
Why I'm getting Burger King's lectures, you know, in the game chat, you know, Burger King's signature burger, the Whopper, was introduced in 1957. A full 11 years before McDonald's launched the Big Mac. It was created to appeal to customers who wanted a larger, more filling burger. Why? Secret menu? Yeah.
Secret menu.
So, I mean, we're 8 minutes past the time we should have started, and I'm wondering if we are going to start when we are supposed to start.
Well, I'm hoping that we kind of get started here. I do know that Baddies of the North are asking when are we gonna kick this off. So
Now I got a Chinese message, you know, here in the chat. You know, why?
So you know,
Yeah.
as we were kind of talking about these groups, you know, what is something for you that you think is going to be crucial for this match for either team? What do you think are going to be some of the areas of control that need to happen? What do you think from that kind of standpoint are going to need to be the must-haves in order to get this match in the bag, to get that win?
Well, knowing that we are going to be playing Björnmilsummer, already telling you guys, I believe one of the main points that you should have a control, you know, complete control, is the radar bunker you have in the south. It's a position that it's key most of the times to attack the point from the south, at least. So I believe that the teams are going to be focusing on that specific area, at least on the opening, you know, the opener. So, I mean, the other point that might be that important is the north of Björnmilsummer, you know, those 2-3 houses you have north of it, not reaching like the north point. I don't remember the name of the point at the north, but in between the north point and the Björnmilsummer point, which is also typical for attacks on Björnmilsummer from the north. So I believe those are like the two main positions that the teams should be trying to get. I mean, or I believe those are the main points of focus that we are going to be seeing from both the teams. I don't know if you agree with me here.
That, yeah.
Maybe there is something I'm skipping. You know, I'm more of a tank player than an infantry player. Maybe you can enlighten me a little bit more.
Yeah, no. So for this point, you're definitely going to want to set up your front door garrisons, you know, and maintaining that effort. You know, you got to control that orchard. If you are on axis, you know, you got to control that orchard to the south of Verville. You got to control that area. We just got notification that they'll be flipping in 60 seconds here. But it is something, you know, you got to know the areas to control. You know, that's one of them. You definitely need to control that north area around north of Verville. Those buildings are going to be crucial. And, you know, and to be fair with you, it wouldn't be a bad idea to control that radar station down to the, what is that? That's to the east of Verville, down east there. You know, that area is so crucial on that point. And even east of just Verville in that little garden area and whatnot. And so that area is going to be. I expect to see some of the heaviest fighting over there, and that's at least from an infantry standpoint.
Completely understandable. I mean, as far as I remember, those are like the main points of attack. So this unit. So it's just wanted to show you a small thing we have, a double map. So yes, we're going to be doing double map, and yes, hope you enjoy it once again.
Let me get ready for it.
It's quite silent. No secondary sounds, from the game, which is weird in my opinion. Tends to be bombing explosions over the map, but not this time. So minute 40 until we start the match here, and let's see how the maps look, how the teams are preparing already. We see already.
Yeah, you can definitely see Baddies of the North are definitely preparing for that I-6 approach. They also got guys, gearing up in I-4 there.
Yep, I see you. That's like the most typical place to start, because it's like the most straight road, no climbing this side or this hill. So it's like the most secure way of reaching the battlefield. On the side of, I forgot the name, Pathfinders here, we're going to be seeing two Stuarts, two Luch, my bad, medium here, and the recon, which is driven by Moto and Domo, and Data here, going straight to the north. Maybe they were going to flank. Have trucks already lined up south here. This one might be going straight to this south point here, this one to the north point here, and let's get ready, Supplies already falling on both sides. Ready to the match. 10 seconds. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Show me your map. Show me your map. Well, we see they're getting that risk over there. It's a very common place to climb, So, well, then we have the first focus over here on the Pathfinder side. Well, we have many things going straight to Vermeer, it seems. And we should be able to start listening a few rockets, maybe. Here is the main difference, because something we were talking to is that the two teams for this match did have time to practice. As for HCA, no. And that's something I was telling here, Bean, and I thought many previous just trying to hear for any AT or something like that. But you don't have any time to prepare at the HCA, therefore you're relying more on your mind, your memory, on what you already know.
Yeah, I think that's the key, and you look at how these different leagues are run and everything. It really does test each group, and I think that it's so crucial to kind of understand, the ebbs and the flows, if that makes sense.
Correct. It's a completely different way of playing, because in one you already have time to prepare, the AT guns, for example, if you want to prepare one, or prepare rocket snipes, you you have time to practice them, to think where the enemy might be going, you know. And we see here the 2 points I've been talking to you getting completely overrun by people. Here the bunker with the antenna, with the radar, and then those houses on the north.
You know, you can definitely see, you know, I'm going to zoom in on some of these different locations, and then I'll break out of the map here in a second. But you can definitely see Baddies of the North have definitely set up kind of right around Bearville, and even kind of breaking out from that. Down by radar, they really got a good thing going down there. And with those kind of approaches, you know, I think they're going to be looking at, all right, we're going to let Pathfinders take this. We're going to kind of analyze and see where the, you know, weaknesses are here. Here, I'm going to zoom in right now. I'm going to break out of the map and head on over to radar here.
Too many things going off at Bjornmilsummer. It's a little bit more relaxed here on the antenna, you know. I mean, we can see that Baddies of the North already set themselves on this zone on the south of Bjornmilsummer, so it's going to be a good effort. It's going to require, my bad, a good effort by Pathfinders to take these guys out, you know. There is plenty of guys here compared to Pathfinder forces right now. Plus, this, there we have, you know, the Greyhound. Point is being contested, not right now, but it was just contested, so...
You can definitely see the areas that Baddies of the North are really controlling. You know, I talked a little bit about controlling the garden. They got a steward over there right now. This is crucial. You know, we talk about areas to control. This is one of those areas on this point where if you want to retake it, this point, you need to control this approach. It's an L approach. You need to control that area in order to make a run at taking the church.
Be careful, because also the north point, the one that we were talking about, has been completely overrun by Baddies of the North. And here is where we see the main difference between a Division 3 and Division 4 team. Division 2, my bad. You start to see people being accurate. And what the fuck is Ulver doing outside the tank? He's touching the grass! Damn, boy! Didn't know he knew to touch the grass, you know?
Come on now! Grab that grass.
But
looks like a tank was just taken down on point. Oh no, that was just a transport truck.
Oh yes, the truck that came straight to the north part of the point. Point is being captured right now. The only thing left of Pathfinders protecting this point is that luge inside the point, inside the circle, inside the hard cap, and this luge quite close to it. So yeah, I believe this is going to be point for Baddies of the North quite soon.
You know, Pathfinders have done something very interesting with having those two Luxes right there, kind of protecting that outlook. The idea was there, and I really like that idea of trying to protect that infantry as they spawn to kind of push up.
He fell asleep. But yeah, Baddies of the North took completely over the church, got the great positions to defend the point, and we can see that Pathfinders is trying hard to get this point, to try to get close to the point, but it's completely unable. Have an OP here by ship. Seems not going to last too long. removed by Mr. Blend with his AT gun. No, not gun, but the rocket launcher, the bazooka. Luch here seems to be facing 2 tries to get a satchel on him. Be careful, cause Scoot might be playing it a little bit smarter, you know? If the Luch stays here, you know, quite close to this wall, might blow up too, so... Smart move, and well, he... No, he's Scoot Club. Point, by the way, was captured by Baddies of the North. I don't know what's going to happen to this Luch, you know? Does damage, but not enough to destroy the Luch. Was not close enough. Was a good try, anyways. I like it.
Sorry, say that again?
It was a nice try, because the Luch did not get destroyed, but it did get damaged. I liked it, you know? It's a little bit of smart play, you know? Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't.
Absolutely, and I think the effort was there, you know what I mean? And I think that's the key here. You know, the Allies kind of have a little bit of an advantage on this point because they can control that L, you know what I mean? So yes. In order for Pathfinders to really kind of dig in here, they're going to have to push front door. They're going to have to use, you know, some tank support with them. Those Luxes that they had going on, like you said, that was a great effort. But I definitely think they need to, you know, kind of pair up with those tanks, push in, and it's gonna be a nosebleed. You know what I mean?
I completely get you. What's going to happen inside here? Great play by Edo Tensei. She's weak. Completely behind the enemy lines here. Completely behind Baddies of the North. Seems Baddies of the North know his presence, about his presence here. Chokes, at least. Fired a rocket over here. And let's talk about maps, you know? I want to see the Gary placement of both teams. I think this is something quite necessary, you know, for this situation, you know, the cap and recap.
Absolutely.
So, on the Pathfinder side, we see very well placed Garys, you know, frontline, just for a quick appearance. I believe they are decent Garys placement. Maybe there is one missing, you know, there it goes, never mind. Flynn Rider, hero commander, getting it up here for the main push, you know. Completely straight to the point. Point is being contested, by the way. And then we have 2 for the defensive point, which is also contested. Be careful, because the south point, South Gary is about to go down. What can you tell me about the Baddies of the North Garys?
I mean, they've set up a really nice network. You know, you look at them from radar to on point, you know, to up in F4 and F3. You know, they've really controlled with OPs and garrisons. They have a pretty firm radar going. What they're going to want to do is they're going to want to start setting up a front door, and they're going to want to make sure that they maintain these garrisons while they hold Verville. You know, in my opinion, they're going to kind of wait and see how things are going to progress. And from there, you know, you can start to see they're starting to make some pushes across that line, even though they're starting to lose Verville, which, you know, they're going to probably react pretty strongly. They got, you know, a couple of light tanks over there. They got their stewards. So, you know, they're going to have this secure. They have the guys that can get supplies down on the point and build that Gary back up.
Well, just seen 1, 2, 3 Garys on the Pathfinder side go down. Tiger is already ready in the midpoint, in the mid spawn, my bad. So I believe the main effort for both teams right now is mostly the front door of Vermil-sur-Mer, you know, because Pathfinder is trying quite strong, you know, to keep pushing over this side. I just saw the 5th Gary go down. on the Pathfinder side. And I believe that, well, Baddies of the North main job right now is to clean all this zone here. And I believe they are going to do it, but not in a push straight, and kill them, but in a get their Garrys. Do not let them spawn here. Let's see how they play, because they will have to start from the very, very back. But Tiger here already getting a few shots on Vermil-sur-Mer. Have a 76 I saw on your map, getting close to the point here. I did not see where it went. I hear it though.
It is
here
up north. Yep. So, what I will say about garrisons and garrison placement, right? You need to. I used to have this conversation in lecture when I was, in a former group of cough off 7th Cav. And it was kind of a debate. There were times where people said, well, we need to have guys dedicated to support, and we need to let other guys get into their groove and stuff. Okay. I come from the opinion of where if I'm an SL and I say, hey, I need support right here, right now. I need to get a garrison up right now. I need it now. That doesn't mean in 2 business days. That doesn't mean in 5 business days. That means now. And replacing those is so crucial that it almost becomes, second nature, if you will, for some of these top groups. And I think, if groups are looking to get there, it's a matter of you just have to drop the ego and just do it. You know what I mean?
Correct. I mean, at the end of the day, this, besides of being a game, it's a strategy and a team play game. And it's not played however you prefer, it's played how it's supposed to be played. And it's supposed to be played, you have a commander who gives the order to the officers, and the officers who give the orders to the units. It's as simple. And if you do not complain, I mean, not complain, but if you not comply with the instructions, what are you doing? You're not helping the team. So leave your room for someone else who's willing to do the effort.
Absolutely.
2 Tigers against 176. That's what we are watching right now. Tiger, it's repositioning here, the one that was attacking Vermil-sur-Mer, and we see the one right there at the back who was shooting this 76. 76 is repairing right now. So this might be the downfall of the 76, 2-on-1. If Pathfinders plays its cards properly. We see over here finally doing something,
Oh my god, it's about time.
Be careful, cause if this 76, smoke was a smart play by the Tiger, waiting for the smoke, to shoot through this door.
Oh yeah.
That was a very smart move by this Tiger. Unfortunately, the smoke, it's not letting them do that. And I believe the 76 is already aware of that Tiger presence, so... Cannon coming from the left here. What is that? Here, an AT. I mean, bunkers give you this, The ability of building an AT gun, basically, with a lot of vision, because it's not like it's at the ground level, it's above ground level. It's above the bunker, casually speaking. And you can shoot above this, the grass, I forgot the name of this. The hedgerows, So it's very, very useful, It's like Utah, the bunker top left that the German side
Yep.
uses for it. It's mostly the same, and be careful because this tiger got completely surrounded by Baddies of the North people. Chucks here seems to be trying to get behind this tiger here.
So, what I'm also noticing right now from Pathfinders, they've committed 12 guys to defense. You know, if you look at the offense right now from, you know, Baddies of the North, you know, they got some light tank support, but they have probably close to about 8 guys that are putting active pressure on this next point. And I think, you know, when you look at orchards, you know, it looks like right now we're seeing one of the heavies from Pathfinders headed into orchards. That's a lot of resources on defense. You know what I mean?
True. I mean, the thing here right now. Can you show me the map a second so I see it? There we go. The thing, you know, it's well, basically what the main difference between the divisions, you know, at the APL at least, is the level of the player, how good they manage in the battlefield, you know, how good are they at the 1v1s, you know. At the end of the day, what wins you the matches are the 1v1s. If you can't push because your team is losing the 1v1s, therefore your enemy is pushing on you, this is what ends up happening, you know. You get pushed back and you can't push forward. So that's what I see here, you know. So basically, the next move, I believe, the next move by Baddies of the North is going to be clean completely the frontal of Vermil-sur-Mer and start wrenching, you know, to start piercing on the north of the next attack point they have, you know. That's what I believe it's going to. They are going to try to do. You that are more infantry player, maybe you can enlighten me about how Baddies of the North can, or what their next step should be.
They're gonna set up their front door here, right? They're gonna have to distract Pathfinders, right? But you're also gonna have to push up to the west of Orchard. You're gonna have to control that area. Luckily, there's a wonderful field right up in there, and they can push right along that field all the way into Orchards. It's an open field, but it's kind of covered, you know. There's a little coverage,
yes,
you know, to the east of it, and they're going to use this area, and they're going to take that area, and they're going to use it kind of as a lane of approach. That's one of the lanes that they're going to use, but they're also going to approach down east to the northeast of Orchards, you know, and quite frankly, a good wraparound from the west, that would really kind of seal the deal. Not necessarily walking into Crossroads, but definitely getting close enough to Crossroads and using those wheat fields around Crossroads, in between Crossroads and Orchards, in order to effectively make that push. But Pathfinders, they're going to need to hold their defense. They're going to need to hold front door. They're going to need to continue to throw everything that they have at Verville-sur-Mer. And it really doesn't feel like that's happening as effectively as they would like it to.
I mean, once again, that comes down to the 1v1s, you know, meaning the micro battles inside the whole battle. And something I'm checking here, you know, you show me the map, it's the Gary placement of Baddies of the North. I love it. What can I tell you? I completely love how the Gary placement is going over there. You, as a squad leader, what do you think about that Gary placement?
I think it's one of those things that just kind of, you know, and I say this a lot, you just need to know where to put the Garys. You need to take the time. You need to do the homework. You need to, you know, sit down as a individual player and as a team and go, where can we best put these Garys? You know, most groups commonly put them in the same place. Some groups will kind of have a little bit of a variation. But, you know, specifically, I mean, you look at the radar. I know I call it the Pentagon, right? It's a fort around Verville with the OPs and the garrisons all around it. That's a pretty hard push, and it looks like there's going to be a bomb. Was that a peace strike? Yeah, it looks like a peace strike is happening right now near
Peace
Orchards
strike over
there.
the tiger here. Yeah. There is a tiger here. Standing still, not moving. The crew gets down to repair it.
Oh,
Straight to the head, straight to the turret. What a great
and
placement.
they're
you
left
know.
looking around going, where do we go?
I mean, it's basically that. I mean, what do I do now? Bring another tank. But yeah, the thing here now, it's basically what you were saying, you know. They're basically using these fields, you know, to get to the orchards. With this cover they have here. So right now, been 25 minutes of match and 35 seconds. And I mean, Baddies of the North already is pushing, and once again,
I mean, they're
this
making a good
is
push, and they're pushing right where I said they would push. You know, they're definitely pulling guys over in, you know, to the farther down to the southeast there of Orchards. You know, holding that line there. But the main push, it's coming right down that Main Street, USA. They're gonna walk. They're gonna try to cross this area. You know, you got Mr. Blend right there. You know, working his little fucking, you know, gun and whatnot, and he's trying to take them out and whatnot because he knows that they're all lined up there too. But Pathfinders are going to have to address these different pushes. You know, we called, you know, what ESPT does, you know, that whole boa constrictor. This is a form of it. You know, it's not as killing and death blowing. But it definitely is one of those that, you know, you can see that there's different pushes and it's like a vice grip. And they're slowly choking Pathfinders into a little area. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see already start hitting that point proper, if we see a bombing run come in anytime soon. I will say this. Pathfinders are doing an excellent job on defense. However, what they need to do more is they need to push north. You know, you have a bunch of guys that are addressing that eastern, you know, push, but you got nobody looking north. You know what I mean? They got nobody pushing up north to control that field. You know what I mean?
true. I mean, the only thing I see here right now is this tiger here and hippie, you know. Also, Data here with his sniper, I believe it's an FG42, and Domo here with his MG, and well, I mean, interesting placement because Domo here it's actually looking towards there, so I mean, it's an MG42, so I believe he can defend it quite very good all this field, you know, by himself. I will still bring some people, you know, so they do the anti-boa constrictor, you know, so they start flanking here these Baddies of the North guys, so they are not only fighting you frontally, so they also fighting from the side. But I'm seeing here that Mr. Krabs here with his 1918, my bad. So it's going to be a very, very hard task to do what I'm thinking here to do. So right now I'm gonna open the map once again. I don't know, it's complicated, you know, because south here it seems they're doing some work of recapturing. No, it's completely the opposite. Baddies of the North is completely pushing over here. Flynn Rider, or commander, dying here. Chosen kills Evil Fanta here. Hippie, another hippie, you know, over here. Tries to kill Chosen, I believe, but misses. Retro manages to get
Oh.
him through.
No, say what you want about how Pathfinders, handled, getting pushed out of Airville. They've done an excellent job so far in handling defense. The only area that they do need to control more of. I'm going to get out of the map here. I would almost want to hold more to the northwest of orchards. I would want to hold maybe a little bit more of that, with maybe one or two more guys, just because at that point in time, you just pushed out front door. You just pushed Baddies of the North out of front door. All right, so they're gonna have to find a different way to go about it. They might have to flank up, to the north of orchards. They're gonna have to get into that, 3-story over there, and then they got perfect line of sights on Pathfinders as they try to push front door. It's a different approach. It's definitely something they might look to do. But overall, I mean, like you saw them push out Baddies over the first time. It'll be interesting to see if they can continue to do that here. Looks like Mr. Blend has found their garrison there.
Korean bombardment here by Pathfinders is going to be over the front door we were speaking about. Kill 2 or 3 people, I believe. But I don't think it was enough.
No,
Axis supplies falling here.
Front door garrison locked.
I believe we are going to be seeing a Gary here. So now Pathfinder is actually getting some progress down southeast. We see Pulfer here. Completely unnoticed by Baddies of the North. Never mind. I should shut my mouth. I believe we are seeing 3 tigers here on the Pathfinder side. How many 76s do Baddies of the North have?
Let me see. We got 1. We got 2. I think we only.
I see 2 on the south. 2 on the south. Not Eric Sala. I believe this is a Vanguarda tank, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is a Vanguarda tank here. We have Nixter, and Ulford is at the very back, doing nothing. Ulford, come on, do something. As a matter of fact, he's not as a tank commander this time, it's Redbird. And Ulford is dead, by the way, he's not in the tank. Come on, Ulford, move, run, do something. Bombardment here by Pathfinder, no, not Pathfinder, Baddies of the North. And we see Milton here from Vanguarda. Milton manages to reach these houses here inside, not inside, but quite close to Orchids right there. Gets a kill. DJ knows where he is. It doesn't seem he does. Artillery kills him. Blair right before he dies to artillery. Witty here might be trying to face Chicken Nugget. Gets a spawn in his face, kills 3. Milton dies here. I believe it was to a team. What a sneaky play, you bastard here. Who are you? Dog all day. Look at this. Look at my screen 1 second, you been. Look at this. Look at this sneaky son of a bitch. What a great place to be.
Doc, you know what? Doc is one of those players that for the longest time he hung out with Syndicate. I'm not sure where he's at now. I believe he's in ESPT. But he is one of those players that you know, he knows the areas of the map. He knows where to shoot. He knows how to do this stuff. And so having him as an asset within the match, I mean, you're definitely going to see more of those type of players when you kind of have these kind of open matches and stuff like that. But it's really cool to see their level of expertise in the game and whatnot.
Something that we never mentioned, you know, but it's interesting to see. It's how the infantry players are not always the same role. You know, many times I've seen, for example, here, Armadillo. However you say it in English. At the start of the match, he was using this guy. I don't know. He was using the AT, you know, at the start of the match. Now he's using the assault. So these things, you know, because I think I seen him, if I'm not mistaken, if my level of schizophrenia is not that high, I also seen him as just a rifleman. So it's something interesting, you know, that no one ever mentions, that people changes, you know, the roles as the match progress, you know.
I know what you mean.
What do you think about the defensive efforts made here south by Pathfinders?
They're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, they're holding it down. They're locking it down. You know, all I will say is, you know, you got to make sure you're not overcommitting to those areas. You know what I mean? Because there's not, in the grand scheme, in the short scheme, if, you know, Baddies of the North get real smart, they may push front door. They have tank support right now. You know, they got that medium that's sitting in you know, right by that point, supporting them. You know, it takes a good tank push, and it takes these guys, you know, not much to push into the point, and we're looking at a different game. You know what I mean? So I think they're doing a fantastic job on defense. I think that they're really nailing it out. I do think that Baddies of the North, though, are going to control. They will control it. I mean, you got Twad down there, Kavas. You know, those are guys that I know in Syndicate that know they know their stuff. You know, I'm watching Kavas right now. Takes out one, looking to get to, you know, one more. Sadly, he goes down. But I mean, Twad is up here, kills one. You know, he knows that there's one more there. He goes down. But these are guys that are going to continue to come back. They're going to keep pushing. And they're going to make sure that, you know, they're not going to just be like, oh, well, we died. Like, oh, well. Like, no, they're going to keep going. They're going to clear it out. And they're going to make an effort to get to that point, if that makes sense.
Nice shooting, you know, by Tomato here. Getting long distance shots. Not hitting, but quite close. But dies to a grenade here. So yeah, right now I believe like the most fogged places of this match are being front door and south. I mean,
It does look like Baddies of the North have kind of set themselves up with two tanks on the front door here that are very much supporting their push. You know, it'll be interesting to see in the next 15 minutes if Baddies of the North make their move. No, you know what I mean?
I get you. Not that many people by Pathfinders on the north, they are completely set here. Let me check over here, maybe there is someone else besides of the commander, but no. They are completely set at the defense point, completely. Look at this combat, you know, because like 10 minutes ago, this row here of hedgerows was completely filled by Baddies of the North people, even coming south here, you know, and Pathfinder was stuck at these hedgerows, and they managed to make a good progress, you know. So now they push one hedgerow, and it's the small battles, you know, you have to win to get the whole battle. I mean. So I see, Baddies of the North has 4 tank units. Not quite sure what Redbird tank at the north of Baddies of the North is trying to look at.
You know, you're starting to see Baddies of the North infiltrate onto the point here. You know, this is all part of their push here. And you might see Pathfinders start to collapse their defense. You know, Mr. Blend and DJ kind of near each other there. Let's see if they're going to... Oh, DJ goes down.
I see Mr. Blend getting quite far inside of the defense set by
that medium
Pathfinders
tank
here.
is definitely going to push into that point. This might actually, you know, start to do some stuff, do some damage.
Careful M4, because there was a tiger somewhere over here. Oh, never mind, he went all the way to the south. Gobble King setting an MG, you know, to protect these houses, this zone of the map, to give Pathfinders a break.
Now that Baddies of the North kind of have a front door control right there, they got tank support. You know, they're gonna flex that, and their tank's gonna push, you know, right into the point and support the infantry.
Top view of the situation right here. Clean wants to go in, dice. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, Baddies of the North are up in C4 and D4, and they're definitely making an effort up there. They are definitely doing the slow wrap, but they're keeping, you know, the defense Pathfinders occupied, dealing with front door.
I believe the very north play by Baddies of the North is going to be mostly meant for the Even if they cap here this point, they go straight to crossroads, you know, by north, south, and well, main push front door. So I believe that's what they trying to do, you know, at the very north. And finally, the M4 decides to get inside, but gets shot by the back by Obama. Imagine getting shot by Obama, you know. And luckily enough, they do not get stuck on the trenches. Talibroski trying to get a satchel on. Satchel placed.
That goes on.
Once again, I believe that what this tank is doing is a sacrifice, you know. They got stuck. Or not. Almost.
I just accidentally spoke in squad chat there. My bad, everybody. Sometimes you just can't get rid of that habit, but
Completely understandable. Let's try not to happen again, you know.
yeah, no, we're not gonna do that no more.
M4 goes down. And then there goes the main push, for calling it some way, of Baddies of the North. Ooh, nice rocket by Folded right there. Rip and Data might be fighting quite soon. No. Rip rushes, Vidar sauce him. Sauce, yes, sauce. But I believe it was Folded actually. And look at this. Look at this. Look at the north part of that field, you know, that we were speaking. Baddies of the North already got here, you know, map here for a second with a tank also, you know. They're playing already C5 D5, you know. C5 D5, so we're starting to see some kind of boa constructor here. And on the south, Pathfinders lost all their progress on these hedgerows here. And I don't think Pathfinders is actually using their tanks in a smart manner, it's not a smart way. Because yes, Baddies of the North has two 76s out here, but this push here on the north part, which Pathfinders here actually stood up once again, also has a 76, you know, and this might be more painful than the south. I believe that just one tank on the south is good enough, and two tanks should be over this zone, you know, here helping this Tiger to get rid of this 76 and get a few shots, a few fire resolutions on this side, you know, on this zone, these small gardens that you were mentioning, Papa Bean, of the main push by Baddies of the North, because those two tanks north up there, and infantry help of course, can clean all this zone here, and cleaning this zone here means free attack on Vermil or at least a better defense position, you know. So I believe Pathfinder should be looking a little bit more on that tank play, because I mean, yes, Wolfer and I are tank players. We always say how important is tank, but in this case, tank does the difference. Tank can change the course of the game. I mean, place a Tiger a little bit more north here to protect all this push, you know. So Tiger here on this road.
Telling Death Vice right now that infantry is right by them. Looks like a bombing run just went down there for
Pathfinders over Baddies of the North.
Pathfinders.
Not many kills by that bombardment. I don't know if it was meant to remove a Gary also. Once again, Baddies of the North reaching here the point, the defensive Pathfinder's point. In here, supplies, I believe. Allied supplies falling right over Domo's head. Pathfinder. And very, very nice playing here. Pathfinders completely overrun this zone by infantry and a tank. Very important, the tank here. Ulthover's tank goes down. I knew he could. Yeah, I knew. I mean, this position, you know, for a tank, it's... I don't believe it's the smartest position for a tank, you know, because you're stuck here. The only way out you have is through there and there, you know, so you cannot actually get like a proper... Exactly, you can move the tank, you know, to defend by the position, you know, to try to get a bounce. It's not that easy, because you can also get killed quite easily, because I mean, when you see a 2v1 on tanks, obviously you think that two tanks are going to win, but well, it's mostly true, but in this case you are condemned, you know, you just can't make a 2-on-1 without getting destroyed completely, for sure. I'm telling you that you had the option to not get killed by the two tanks, at least as easily, but you ended up causing that. Tiger without engine here. Great play by my Chinese friend here.
What's his name?
Chin Chen Han Chin. I don't know, the C guy. I don't know, the C guy. I don't speak Chinese, sorry guys. What can I tell you?
You know, Pathfinders have really done an excellent job of controlling their destiny here. And even kind of looking back on Verville, you know, they got guys that are looking for that garrison. They're hunting that garrison down. They're not anymore. But it looks like Pathfinders are making an effort.
Look at my screen. Look at my screen. You're going to see that effort going on here. They managed to infiltrate, you know, quite deep, I would dare to say, on Baddies of the North's main line.
I think it was bad of them, Pathfinders, and this is something that I think people learn over time. You don't send a guy into the point because you know that there's a garrison or there's an OP there, and that's going to alert the rest of the enemy team. You wait until everybody that you need to have to be there is there in order to push. You understand what I'm saying? You know, yeah.
Completely understand you, and I agree.
You don't break your eggs and try to create an omelet if you don't have all the pieces to make the omelet, if you don't have the cheese, if you don't have the veggies, if you don't have the meat. You don't want to give it away. You know, you want to wait until the moment is just, all right, there we go. Now's our chance. Let's go. Otherwise, you know, Baddies of the North, they're going to capitalize on that. They're going to go, okay, there's one guy here. That means there's probably more. Let's push, you know, in the direction that we think that they're coming from. You know?
It might have been also a play not to attack or completely attack, but to release some pressure out of the Pathfinder's defense. You know, we see...
Absolutely.
Look at this, look at this, look at this. Kaunos. Look where Kauno is. This might be very, very painful for Pathfinders. Something we should be finding in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I believe. That's very, very sneaky by Kauno there. And, well, we see Baddies of the North once again completely running over the north side of the defensive point that Pathfinders had, you know. Atheroid getting 1 kill over there. Very, very nice. Now the question is, did you see him? Yes, you did. You gonna get him? Yes, you did. Great play there by Outright. Supplies falling right over him. Might be able to make a Gary over here. Omen, Baddies of the North's commanders also saw the supplies falling here. They see each other and Outright, damn. And damn. No Gary anymore. Outright is dead. I believe I'm seeing a sneak engagement here. It's a who moves first. And the first issues decided to leave. I did. Sad.
Gibbs is just taking his time methodically, one by one, take him down, move up.
I believe
burn,
Frosty decided to make his own OP before taking this engagement, if he does, because he's not looking at I believe the name is did only. Tiger here, quite alone on the north part of the defensive point by Pathfinder here. I think you are too alone, bud. That's something we tend to mention quite a lot with Ulfar 2. You don't want to leave your tanks alone. And if you're a tankist and you're alone, usually it's because your infantry got killed, got completely overrun, or you yourself set up yourself in a bad position. And be careful, because Dread should destroy something over here. 76 goes down by Dread. Very nice AT guns.
The noose is closing in on this backline Gary, the Whammo garrison.
I believe this is a very nice reaction by Pathfinders here over this Gary they have. You know, the Whammo, I believe it was Kaonos or Hippie. Sulvivid, nah, no way he could destroy that guard by himself. Gets killed by Gibbs. Getting another kill Gibbs there. Now how do you do against Flynn Rider, the commander here? I see Kaono back there. Keeps going on and going and going and going. Flare on top. Check the map. That was Average there trying to get Gibbs. Unable. And Flynn too trying to get Gibbs. I believe that was Kaono from here getting Flynn Rider, the commander. Let's check the adventures of Kaono, you know?
Let's check in with him.
Him or her? I don't know. Very nice infiltrators here. We don't have any Garys here. Maybe the Mike OP here that might give away Kauna's position, but that's it. Nothing else. I need to see what blew up here. Tiger gone down. 76, and I believe it was Free Meadow too. A lovely teamwork. If that's what happened. No, maybe it was a double tap here. Many things could have happened here in the south, and we see how slowly but steadily Baddies of the North is eating Pathfinders from the south. Actually, how do you see the Baddies of the North play here, you Papa Bean?
I mean, I see that Cano is definitely that his Whammo squad has definitely been one that's been on point. Um, and that's the scary thing about a good Whammo is you force them to face you. Looks like Cano's OP is going to go down there.
It gone down. Average gamer here taking it down. Armadillo helping here. Now, what do you think are the steps that Pathfinders should take right now, to completely defend this point? What should they start cleaning right now?
That's a big question. I think a lot of it just kind of comes down to, making sure that, for Baddies of the North, you got to be hitting all the points that you need to hit. You got to get a good frontal push. I mean, there's 28 minutes left. I mean, Orchards is a hard point to take, no doubt. No doubt. But, it's working with your Whammo, working with, your tank crews, getting your infantry guys to line up and getting them to push in. It's so crucial. So crucial to have that momentum going, if that makes sense.
Amazing play right there. Satchel plays. Tiger got the kill. Someone got killed by the satchel.
What is interesting to me is that Syndicate's Omen is commanding this match, and Omen he's been doing a fantastic job of in Syndicate, watching him step up into a leadership position for that organization. He is definitely one that people are going to be watching and whatnot. He does a fantastic job on Whammo. I had the misfortune of having to go up against him in a scrim, and he just killed every single garrison I put up. I mean, I put up a garrison, he took it down. I put up another garrison, he took it down. But the drawback, right, of having someone outside of Baddies of the North command is they might not necessarily know the capabilities of everyone who's on the team. Does that make sense?
I'm not following you. No, I don't.
So what I mean by that, right? What I mean by that is that just because you are commanding and you're from a different team or you're from a different clan, you might not necessarily know, for example, if you have Vanguarda as tanks. Well, if I don't commonly play with tanks from Vanguarda, I'm not going to know what they can and can't do. Whereas if I'm in my own group and if I know, Syndicate tanks.
Yeah, I get you now.
I know that Syndicate tanks. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And so, I think Omen is at a disadvantage. But I think he's been doing a fantastic job of managing the situation, maintaining garrisons, maintaining those lanes of approach, making sure to get supplies down for, Whammo and whatnot. And so, it can be hard when you're on a team, that has players that are from outside of your clan. Does that make more sense?
It does. It does.
It would be like, it would be like me being in the 7th Cav, but I go to a match with the 10th Mountain, and the majority of the people there are 10th Mountain and Lucky Strike, and I have a couple of guys that are from 7th Cav. but I don't know how the 10th Mountain do things. I don't know how Lucky Strike does things. But, you know, in all honesty, Baddies of the North have really been strong here with Omen, you know, at the helm of the command seat. And I think that's very, you know, obvious with how things have gone so far.
Very nice bombardment here by Pathfinders. I don't think it's... I mean, it was good, but I don't believe it was the right place for the actual situation. And Gary placement right now for Pathfinders, it's decent. I mean, they kinda recovered a little bit from that start of literally losing all their Garys. I mean, they're not at the front line like they were right back then, but it's good enough, I believe. I mean, maybe something over here, but it will be kind of risky. We see one getting light up right now. And who are the Garys, you know, of Baddies of the North?
I mean, they're definitely, you know, Pathfinders are definitely going to make a run at this. You know what I mean?
Come again, I was responding to someone in chat, lol.
Oh, no worries, no worries. All I'm saying is that, you know, this will be an interesting, you know, to see how Pathfinders addresses and makes a run at this point here, because I don't think Pathfinders are throwing in the towel.
No, by the looks of it, they are not. They are trying to hold at least a 3-2 loss. I mean, I would actually dare to say that a 3 loss against a Division 2 champion, it's not bad. It's an actually very, very good result, because it was not a 5-0 that you completely got overrun, which usually tends to indicate that there is some work to do, because you can be losing 5-0, you know. But a 3-2, it's... Yeah, I mean, you know that you did not completely wrong, but you did not completely good. And this might help, you know, for them to get a better playstyle, you know.
I think for holding them to, you know, a 3-2.
Airhead falling in. Airhead here just fell down by Baddies of the North. Hippie manages to defend it. And is people actually going to be able to spawn in it? By the way, the person I was responding to in the chat mentioned it's Pathfinder versus Baddies of the North, What the Hell, Syndicate and Climbers United. That is the right title, and kinda, yes. And we do manage to get a spawn in the Airhead.
The title could almost be like a mixer, you know what I mean?
And Airhead is no longer here. And this is a massacre. Look at this. This is bizarre, you know. Beast Strike. I don't know what that Beast Strike was for. It wasn't Pathfinder. It was a German Stuka. Maybe a misclick by Flynn Rider or Commander. Who knows? South situation recovered.
There's a man Cano going around, man. He is whammo to the core.
Where is she or he? I don't know.
He is up in D3.
D3, damn. Let me go all the way there. Row, row, row your boat gently through the storm. Here we are. I mean, if you're gonna play Wamo, it's... I don't know, it's... Maybe for me it's a boring job, because it's literally you standing still, you know, or running from one point to another point of the map, you know, from extreme to extreme of the map. Point is being lost, by the way. And yeah, when you're Wyman, you have to do that to flank all the way around, avoid any kind of combat and all that. And that's what I say, yeah, that's not for me. Point is
it's
being
not
lost
it's
here.
not always for everybody, and I think that's important to always know. You know what I mean?
True. Something that makes competitive teams good is in that way you know what you are capable of,
Oh,
because
here comes the file and procession of Allied tanks making their move to Orchard. This should be an interesting push here from Baddies of the North, but they are losing Verville-sur-Mer.
That's what I was about to tell you. Vermeer is falling right now to Pathfinder, and damn, who was the Waymo here? I believe it was Big or Shitswick. I mean, it was not such a big deal. It was just a bunch of guys. You choose three or a few Baddies of the North players to the point, and it's completely defended. But it was a nice try. I mean, it kind of helped to reset the attack that Baddies of the North was trying to do right now on the defensive point to the arcades. So, it, out there to say, it was a success. You maybe more experience, as infantry. I don't know if
Yeah,
you can
no,
tell
and,
me.
and definitely, I was just kind of looking at the map there. It definitely looks like it pulled some of the Baddies of the North to address the problem back there. I mean, are they dealing with, horrific odds? No, but they are dealing with a fair amount of enemies now on their back point, and they're recognizing it. That's the thing too, is that they're recognizing, oh, they have a garrison, back there. We need to address that pretty darn quick. And so Pathfinders, Whammo has done a fantastic job of getting in behind. So now it'll be interesting to see how Baddies of the North are going to address this. But it does look like they are starting to, Baddies of the North are starting to make, their push, their claim onto Orchard here.
This tiger is here without engine, the tiger that is right in point of the orchids. It's engineless, I would say. Crew gets down to try to repair it here, but now Hippie manages to respawn quite quickly.
Gone, baby.
Tiger gone here. Point is being recaptured anyways by Pathfinders. There is enough presence here by the infantry to keep holding the point. But be careful, because there is not many more people by Pathfinders over here. Baddies of the North keeps trying.
I would not be surprised to see those two tanks of Baddies of the North make a push and make a efforted push together on Orchard, because if you have those two tanks and some infantry support, now we're looking at a different kind of ballpark.
I'm gonna tell you something. I believe that if those two 76s push right there when all the infantry was pushing, all the Baddies of the North infantry was pushing, this would have been a very different situation where Pathfinders were already about to lose the point or already lost it.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. 100%.
And here, once again, they are trying to capture Baddies of the North point here. I believe that Tiger
artillery is dialed in. I mean, dialed in on that garrison. Like there's no spawning. There's nothing happening. Like if you spawn, let's see, you spawn there. Go ahead. I mean, you're looking at people getting killed left and right on that garrison spawn.
Cap is halfway through by Baddies of the North. Contested once again, keeps being captured. It's something I'm about to check something real quick. Where is Kaono? Because Kaono might be able to make this very quick.
He is up in C4.
I'm checking him right now. If that point goes down, Kaono is going to make sure this is an easy victory, for sure. Pro's literally taking a nap, you know? Probably watching our stream, you know? Point is being recaptured by Pathfinders here, but the situation is completely different. Why it's completely different? In the past, we had all these houses here, all this zone, I forgot the name of the zone, sorry, was completely surrounded by Pathfinders, you know. The enemy Baddies of the North was only there, and this infantry here was Pathfinders too, it was no Baddies of the North. So, right now, Pathfinder's defense, it's not in a very good position. And they have to start cleaning all these. You know, I'll just... And this is when it gets complicated. You're surrounded. Where do you clean first? Where do you make sure this place is no longer enemy secure?
There goes 176.
Sip, I just saw that 76 is down. The other is rolling in. Be careful, cause it's Ulvert as a spotter in that 76. Maybe those old eyes are unable to see anymore, who knows. Tiger gets a first shot.
Gonna get hit.
76 pulls back. Was it enough? Yes, barely. Ooh! Heard that bounce?
And did I hear a ricochet or did I hear a ricochet?
What a play! Ooh! Careful, because this 76 is still being able to get shot, I believe. Ooh! That's a new haircut right there.
Yeah, but this
76
Panther's
Tiger comes down.
Oh,
Panther, Tiger,
Tiger.
MSAP pushes very aggressively and gets the second 76 there.
Oh, one Tiger down.
No, it was a repair station.
Oh, repair station. Gotcha.
But the Tiger that got the second kill might not last that long. Just saw here Milton placing a satchel. There it is. Satchel is there on the left. Very nice move of the tank driver here, placing the tank in a way that the tanker that just got down to get the satchel off could not get shot by the enemies.
Looks like
Very
the
nice
tanks
place
are
there.
the only thing.
And mostly yes. I mean, 3 tigers on this zone, on the area. Careful, because one of the tigers should got shot by the 76 up there. It's going to be a 1v1. I believe this tiger is going to go down, and it does. Tiger
And
goes
boom,
down.
goes the dynamite.
So now it's down to 2 tigers versus 176. And what is that? A medium? Seems it is a medium here at Vermesurmer. Ooh, what a bombardment here. Supplies falling again because there's no Gary here to defend. Show me your map. Let's see the Gary placement. And another tiger is gone. Another tiger is gone. And Gary placement right now for Pathfinders, it's not the best. I'm seeing your screen. Tell me, what do you think about the Gary placement of Baddies of the North?
I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job of getting, their front door kind of established with their garrisons and whatnot. What I love, I mean, this is kind of one of those points where it's debated, right? It's always debated on whether or not you should get up a garrison in like D7 on the front door of orchards, right? You can make that argument that if you have that if you have that land and you have that property that you own as Baddies of the North. Okay, yeah, let's set up a front door garrison in the red. I'm not always a fan of setting up in the red, but overall right now their garrison placement is great. Their OP placement is on point. This is exactly how I would approach this.
It's a very interesting way of doing this, But look at this. This time it's going from the north, not from the south like the previous pushes.
Correct.
So you know more than me about infantry. What's the difference of pushing from the south and from main door at this point? What do you think is more efficient?
I mean, it all depends on what you want to do. What do you want to do as an infantry? What is working in that moment? Where are you finding the weaknesses? It's not about necessarily the geography of where it's best to approach. Yeah, there's some probably geographical advantages from point from area to area. But the big thing is, where are you finding the weaknesses? I mean, you look, let me get out of the maps real quick here. I mean, you look at the overall landscape of this. They've done a fantastic job of just pushing straight front door, going right down where I said they would go right along, from church all the way down through those houses and whatnot. They get into this little garden bed, and they'd set up ownership right there and push right into, that little fortified courtyard. Baddies of the North have done, a splendid job of taking care of that and getting the area and getting the property that they need to control. I think it's a matter of time before we start to see them really, take the point. They are playing a little bit more defensively. I don't know if you've noticed that a little bit. They still got guys on front door of church that are sitting in E5 and E6. They're like, we're not playing any games. We're not taking any chances. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, it's 7 minutes 30 seconds in the clock. Actually, 5 until the match is decided. With 3 points being captured, you win. So there is no need to force a 4th cap and risk to losing both points. So I believe it's smart what Bad Intentions is doing. Not Bad Intentions, Baddies of the North is doing right now. Of yes, but no, and careful because the yes but no might be yes but no too. Actually, you saw a slight cap of Verbal Surmer, but completely under control by Baddies of the North right now. So
it'll be interesting to see if Pathfinders of the North or Pathfinders. They decide to do a Lindsay Lohan charge. You what do you have to lose, right? You got 6 minutes. You got 4 minutes left in the match. What's wrong with doing a Lindsay Lohan charge? Okay, you leave leave some of your tanks. You leave a garrison back on your defense, but you throw an airhead. You throw something down. And you make a valiant effort, I don't know. It might, heck, we might see Baddies of the North do the same.
I mean, to be honest, I completely agree with you. I mean, this is a practice match. This is a scrim. So the worst thing you can do in these kind of matches is not try. It's that simple. I mean, if you are not going to be playing friendly matches, what would you be playing them for? It's actually to have fun and to learn. I mean, both teams actually learn from these matches.
You gotta test things. You gotta test what you don't know.
Exactly. Five minutes 30 on the clock. 3 minutes for the match to be over. 76 got the first shot on this Tiger here. Tiger is going to back up. Quick enough? Yes. Ooh, that was close. Still at that angle, it would have ricocheted. Second Tiger here gets a kill. I believe it was a teamwork between the two Tigers here. Great job. Cleaning a little bit the Baddies of the North push, you know, the main attack here, supported by tanks. Pathfinder's still trying behind
I'm seeing
the
an
enemy
airhead
lines.
drop here.
I see an airhead too. Who's this? Pathfinders. It is a
Yeah, but it's been seen. It's been seen by Baddies
It's
of the
been
North.
seen, and be careful because there is a bombardment incoming by Pathfinders too. So my question is it going to work? Yes, no, your mom, who knows? Here comes the bombardment. Omen is... Tuad already tossed the grenade. Grenade already exploded. Was a nice try, last resource. I mean, when you do these kind of things at the very end of the match, I don't think it's that smart to throw it right in the middle of the attack point. I mean, it was not in the middle, but it was quite close, you know. If we check the map here, it was, yeah, very, very close. What's falling? Another airhead here by Baddies of the North this time, in practically the same place, almost. Out there to...
It's almost a nod to like, hey, we respect you enough to not throw it on your point.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're going to do these kind of things, you are sure that many enemies are going to be right in the point because they are defending the point from the last attacks you are doing. So, in my opinion, the most intelligent thing to do with the airhead is to throw it in a corner, you know. You are not going to be able to get as much cap pressure as, and careful because this is the Lindsay Lohan push, the Lindsay Lohan charge here we are seeing right now. Check Echo 5. You are going to see such a deploy here by Pathfinders. They are gambling right now.
Oh, this is definitely a Lindsay Lohan charge. I mean, if you're gonna do it, you got to do it in full. You got to say, I throw my hair back. I'm a pretty princess, and I'm gonna take this point. You know what I mean? Do I think it's gonna work? I don't know. I don't know.
13 seconds, 12, 11 seconds, 10 seconds, and you tell me, I'm not checking your map, but did they place a reinforcement? If they did, no way they are going to cap this. 2 minutes on the clock. This is a victory for Baddies of the North. It was a nice try by Pathfinders at the end of the day. But as I tell you, in my opinion, that airhead should have been in a corner, you know, in the back corner, because if it's going to be quite close to the hard point, you can be sure there is going to be someone right there. Also, there is someone, at least one guy, dedicated to be looking at the air, you know, see what comes every time a plane passes at least. And I believe that's something that every player learns to do at the end of the day, you know, when they're competing. You always look up to see what the fuck is going to fall over your face, you know.
No, I get it. I do. And I think here's the thing, right? If Pathfinders had done this earlier, we might have been looking at a very highly contested midpoint. But they were on the back pedal for a majority of the match. Their tanks definitely played a little bit more conservatively throughout the match than I would have liked to have seen. But you can kind of speak on that from a Pathfinder standpoint. But no, this was great.
Deputy Dingaling saying here in the chat, I got a flare gun kill.
You got a flare gun. Any respect for the soldiers nowadays? Like we just got a flare gun kill people? No, okay, that's fine. No, go ahead. You just flare gun whoever you want. I'm a flare gun you. I'm a flare gun you.
Beast Strike falling as a closing here. at the church of Vermelles-sur-Mer. Final thoughts. What do you think about this match?
You know, big match in regards to just being able to test your wits, your everything about it. I think there's a lot to be said for how both these teams played. I mean, Pathfinders held, Baddies of the North with Syndicate and WTH and whoever else you want to do in that mix. They held them to a 3-2. I think that this is one of those type of matches where you really see people like come out and they try their best and whatnot. Overall, I thought both sides did a great job. In the end, Baddies of the North came up with the win. So shout out to them.
Here, Deputy Dingaling saying the Baddies gave us an oil change. Do you agree?
Baddies of the North was what?
Gave us, Pathfinders, an oil change.
To some extent, yes. But, it just, I don't think it was an oil change per se. I think it was just one of those things of, look at where you need to be. Look at how you need to make adjustments here. Those sort of things are so important for teams that are up and coming to really look at the greater picture of things. Without harping on teams and everything like that, it definitely, these kind of matches really show where you're growing, if that makes sense.
True. I mean, I would dare to say that Pathfinders learn, mostly like their 1v1s. I mean, because something I don't understand, about this match, about Pathfinders, is that at the start they were losing the 1v1s, but then in a moment they started winning the 1v1s, but then started losing the 1v1s again, and then they started winning the 1v1s again. I don't know what that might be related to. Out there to say to not about the whole combo as a team, but as more as an individual, play. But yeah, then we see maybe something else Pathfinders learned here is about the tank play, maybe because at the end of the day, I'm there to say that tanks on both sides were a little bit, I don't know, passive, like there are a few moments where we would have seen a very, very good push. For example, the two Baddies of the North tanks, that you were mentioning that, and then I told you, if they push, this point was falling for Baddies of the North. It would not have ended as a 3-1, a 3-2. This match would have ended as 4-1. Maybe they managed to recapture it, but no, that passive gameplay. I mean, it's also. I mean, I'm talking from seeing it all, I'm God here. But when you're in the match, maybe you don't see everything. And maybe there is not all the things, pointed out by the officers. Then there is something that pass by, for example, a tank.
Yeah.
You can't leave that tank unmarked, So maybe it was a little bit of that, causing the tanks to be a little bit more passive.
I think it also is like these type of matches are definitely more of a learning experience for them. They're, these are Pathfinders more, but this is like a mixer almost. And it's just to allow guys to continue to get better, with, different tournaments on the horizon. Got seasonals coming up. People are looking ahead at different tournaments that are coming up and preparing. They want to be ready. And so, yeah, there might be matches where you see tanks that play much more aggressively than what they normally would do. Because, if you're winning, if you're up 3-2, what do you have to lose if you play a little bit more aggressively? But it also goes with, I want to work on shooting, or I want to work on, my controlling lanes and stuff like that. And, from an infantry standpoint, I want to work on cohesion with a couple of the guys that are in my squad that are part of my clan, and really, focus on that and get that to a point where, it is, you know, at a higher level. And that's stuff that, you use these kind of matches for. And so, yeah, there might be times where people play a little bit more aggressively, but there are also times where people play a little bit more passively, if that makes sense. And so those could be some of the
It
very,
does.
main reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it completely does make sense. Not every match is to be played completely aggressive. Sometimes you are winning and you don't really want to get the 5 points because I don't know, and you should start playing a little bit more passive. Holding the 3-2 you winning, but not giving it away and not attacking. Getting a 4-1. I mean, and yeah, I mean, I believe it's fair enough.
I think it's definitely one of those, it won't be an all-out brawl, or, and on top of that, at the same time, you might not necessarily want to take the fourth point. You might not necessarily want to 5-0 this group. It might just be one of those matches where you want both teams to really work on their Gary placements. You really want to work on all those different, um, for Pathfinders, it's working on, as a squad and stuff like that. So yeah, no, there's a bunch of reasons.
I completely agree. But well, something I told here being before starting is that I'm not going to be doing interviews because, well, this is a scrim match. At the end of the day, it's mostly to learn. I don't know, come here. First question. What did you expect to learn here? Stuff. Okay, fair enough. Have a good one. So I don't see a point on doing these interviews in a scrim. So yeah, I think that's all. Any last words, to close, Bin?
No, that's it for me. This has been great.
Well, nothing else to say. I believe it was a very, very interesting
No,
match. Go ahead.
it was a fun match to watch.
It was indeed. So I'm going to leave it here, guys, and see you tomorrow for the HCA Pathfinder versus BFTB match. I don't know what the name is. It's a German team. So yeah, see you around, boys.
See ya.
As the title says, health friendly.